Great to have you listening right now to EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network as Take Two with Jerry and Debbie is getting underway. I am Jerry Usher along with Debbie Georgiani and you are the key component of this program each and every day. Is that true, Debbie? I think people
Very
should know
true.
that by now. Yeah, they should know that by now. Really, you really make the show what it is.
We have to keep resetting that and restating that, Jerry, because we have listeners every single day, brand new listeners, and the family is growing, the Take Two family. So we want to definitely keep reiterating that you drive the show. So we introduce the topics, we explain a little bit, kind of give our takes on things, maybe at the beginning or at the end of the show, but you take it away with your calls. Michael McCall is call screening today, and so he'll be answering your calls as you call in. You're going to chat with him for a few minutes. He's going to put you on hold. You get to listen live and jump right in, and you'll add to the discussion. So this is part two, Jerry, part two of Do You Believe the Church Wouldn't Embrace You? We had very active phone lines yesterday. We left a bunch of people on the lines at the end of the show, so we decided to do a part two, and we do this quite often here on Take Two because we just have such lively discussions, and we just feel like we have to kind of close up the discussion a bit, and we can't. The time runs out, Jerry. That time thing.
Yeah, time. Steve Miller Band, was it time? Keeps on ticking into the future.
True.
So yeah, the end of today's show is going to come, folks. We don't want to leave you on a line. So here's how you get a hold of the Michael McCall to screen your call. 833-288-EWTN. 833-288-3986. And Debbie, you said we had full phones yesterday, and really people coming at this topic from a lot of different angles.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. We take notes on each and every show, so let's just kind of recap a little bit. The question is, do you believe the church wouldn't embrace you? And our first caller, Patty, just a wonderful lady. She lost her husband recently, a long marriage, and she talked about this idea of not having, not the need for marriage in heaven. So we discussed that a little bit, and that's kind of kept her a little bit on the periphery of the church, wondering, what does that mean for me as a Catholic? And so it was a very interesting discussion. Then Rose called in, who's divorced, and talked about, receiving the sacraments and what that means. And we talked about that. And Mary called in from North Carolina about this singles in the church and how there's such a loneliness factor with a lot of singles in the Catholic Church, and how we can make it more welcoming and people can get involved in ministry and be an active part of the church. But Jerry, one of the, we had a lot of other calls, and thank you, a lot of comments coming in on email and social media. But Jerry, I got to say, who hit the home run yesterday was Lupe. Lupe in Virginia. Oh, my goodness, Lupe. Lupe was talking about Catholics don't smile, and she makes it like a ministry of hers to smile at everyone. And Lupe, you have ignited I can't even begin to describe it. So many people came forth and said, I agree with Lupe. I'm joining that ministry, and I'm going to start smiling as a Catholic. And that was a big hit yesterday. I think we all learned to kind of act like we won the spiritual lottery,
Well, there you go. Debbie has laid out some of what we experienced on the show yesterday, and your takes will drive today's broadcast at 833-288-3986. If you feel perhaps like the church doesn't have a place for you in a pew, you don't fit in, maybe the church would not wrap her loving arms around you because maybe it's a marital, irregular marriage situation. We had our good friend John, the former Uber driver, talk about his same-sex attraction and some of the challenges that he has, with that, and feeling welcomed in a parish, and he's had some unfortunate experiences. So it could be anything that you are experiencing in your life. Debbie, the church is here for every man, woman, and child who has ever existed since the church was founded, and of course, since the start of humanity, too. All are saved by Christ. So we certainly want to try and work our way through hopefully some obstacles that people might have.
Well, the church is us, the faithful, and it's for all of us. And so we need to talk about this and figure out a way so that we do feel very comfortable and in good standing with the church, so we can proudly, in a healthy way, say we're Catholic and we're 100% authentically Catholic. By the way, I just wanted to say again, Jerry, folks, if you have some questions about the Catholic Church, or if you're thinking about maybe stepping into the doors of a Catholic church or coming back to the Catholic faith, please check out CatholicsComeHome.org. They have wonderful frequently asked questions, all sorts of things that maybe can just help you with maybe some of the fears or something that you might be feeling about entering back into the church doors. So CatholicsComeHome.org. And don't forget, call to communion, Dr. David Anders. If you are, seeking the Catholic faith and just want the questions answered, wow, well, he's the perfect person to answer all of the Catholic principles, and it's pretty interesting. Great show.
Yeah, it's 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, with Tom Price as the host with Dr. David Anders. 833-288-3986. Is there anything in your mind, in your heart, keeping you from feeling like you could be a full participating member of the Catholic Church? The church wouldn't embrace you because I'm whatever. I'm divorced, I'm remarried, I have same-sex attraction, I've had an abortion, I practice birth control. Any of these things, there's a way to get by those, God willing. Some of these take a little time, and some can't be fully overcome, like if there's a remarriage or something like that. Maybe spouses would have to live perhaps even as brother and sister, but that has been done before. And so there is a place for you in the church. And Debbie, I just wanted to get to a couple from yesterday's social media, if you don't mind.
Please do. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Debbie on Facebook. By the way, we were streaming the video there, so anyone watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can post your comments there. And Debbie says the way to feel part of a community is to be part of the community. She says you don't meet people on Sunday. You have to get involved to meet people. Join a Bible study, volunteer for CCD, join the Altar Society, or any of the myriad volunteer opportunities in a parish. And our friend Joyce the trucker, Joyce is always tuned in as she is traveling over the highways there, says, when I was single, it was a big help to sing in the choir. You got people across the board, married, single, divorced, who all sing, and it's a great place to make friends within your parish. So we talked a little bit about that yesterday, Debbie, getting involved in something.
We did. Yeah, getting involved in ministry is a great way to expand your parish friends, and it's wonderful. And I so agree with that, Jerry. Sometimes we can get very hurt. We take it very personal when we're not greeted and embraced right at the get-go. But you know what? If we get involved, we will be. It's like cultivating any type of friendship circles, right?
That is right. And, I know there are a lot of people who don't participate in the sacramental life of the church. Maybe you go to Mass, but you don't receive communion for whatever reason. But perhaps you just stay away. You just don't even go to Mass. Maybe you feel like, like we said, the church wouldn't be welcoming of you or embrace you for whatever reason. Let's talk about it here. 833-288-3986. Debbie is going to get back to our calls here in just a moment, starting with Diana. So stay with us.
When I begin my prayer time, I always enter into it with the expectation that God wants to teach me something. And it has to start with my willingness to share my heart with God, not just say words at Him. So whether I'm using more formal prayers or a more conversational style of prayer, I have to bring my heart and my life and my real self to God. And by having that dialogue, we're able to enter into a deeper relationship, and He's able to show me how to use all the events of my life to draw closer to Him.
Bishop Robert Barron.
I've been a priest for 31 years. It's a call to a total gift to Christ. It's a total gift of one's life to be conformed to Christ. And that's why I felt it when I was a young guy and I was kind of getting into religion and understanding it more deeply intellectually. It just began to hit me with a great clarity that if this is true, if God is real and God is a supreme good, well, why wouldn't I give my whole self to God? Why would I get distracted by anything else, Now, again, I'm not saying that should be true for every single person on the planet. That's the way it hit me when I was a young guy, was I want to give as much as I can, my whole self to Christ. So there's something heroic about that, where you do eschew a lot of things. You say no to a lot of things so you can say massively yes to Christ and to His demand. I think that's a heroic quality of it.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN.
We're so glad you're with us for part 2 of Do You Believe the Church Wouldn't Embrace You? We want to hear your take on this and your experience of it. Let's talk about it and see if we can make it better starting today at 1-833-288-3986. And Jerry, just a couple things, if I may, just to highlight Did I give the right number? 288-3986. I'm already going into pledge drive season, Jerry. I don't know what it is. We give these pledge drive numbers and they get all jumbled up in our brains, but it's all good, folks. You know where our come from is. Okay, Catholic Answers Live tonight at 6 Eastern Time. Hour 1, bioethics, Father Tad Paholchek. Amazing. That's going to be a great first hour. Second hour, truth and tolerance, Carlo Broussard. Fabulous. Oh, look, our Michael McCall gave the number. Isn't that cute? Yes, Michael, I can see it. 833-288-3986. Too funny. Do you know our show team has such a great sense of humor. Okay, so Catholic Answers Live tonight, 6 Eastern Time. And Jerry, I'm excited about this. Shauna, our webmaster, put on jerryanddebbie.com the information about the webinar that's coming up with Adam Bly, July 25th. And folks, you can submit questions right now. So check it out, jerryanddebbie.com. And then in just a couple days, we're going to have the registration link for you to register because we can only take so many for this 30-minute webinar. It is exclusive. It's amazing to be with Adam Bly, religious demonologist out of the Diocese of Pittsburgh for 30 minutes is pretty rare, and we're very excited to get him.
Yeah, we'll take your questions and kind of sort through them all and put to him the 12 most asked questions about demons and the influence of demons and things like that. So that's at jerryanddebbie.com. You can get information about that. Okay, as we promised, Diana is going to be first today, listening on her Alexa device in Kennewick, Washington. Hi, Diana. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I wanted to kind of talk about. I got married 3 years ago, and I married someone who was baptized Catholic, but he never went through his First Communion or his confirmation because his family just left the church. And when I wanted to get married, I was baptized, I had my confirmation, everything, and my family is still very much involved in the church, my parents, and they were not really okay with me not getting married through the church. So when we went to ask the priest, he told us that we couldn't until my husband went through RCIA. So we ended up, I was in love, and at that time, I wasn't so worried about marrying into the Catholic Church or marrying through the Catholic Church. I just wanted to get married. So we went through just the civil route, and we got a civil marriage. And I kind of figured my husband could, take RCIA, and then eventually, at that time, it didn't matter to me. And now I feel like God is calling me to, be a Catholic in good standing, and that I need to get married. But my husband has no interest at all in going through RCIA, and I feel like I can't even go to church because everyone will know that I'm not married to the church, and I feel like I can't ever really be involved because. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional.
No,
but
that's okay, Diana.
Be a part of it because I'm not really married, and I prayed to God for my husband to have a change of heart and to be willing to go through RCIA so he can marry me through the church, and so our kids could be able to be involved, and I can go. And he doesn't go to Mass with me, but I do go. I don't participate in communion, but I do go with my parents. They go with me, and I just feel like I can never be fully part of the church anymore because I made a bad choice, and I got married and to someone who doesn't want to be Catholic, and I don't really know what to do. I feel like I'm just going to have to live the rest of my life passively going to Mass, not participating in communion, and, I won't ever be fully accepted because my husband, I got married, and we aren't married to the church. So at this point, I try to pray for my husband to change his mind, but I don't think he will. I mean, so far he doesn't seem to have any interest. So.
Okay. So Diana, a couple things. Okay, sweetheart. Listen, are there children involved yet? You said the kids, but have kids come into the world?
We have two. Yeah, we have a baby and a toddler.
Okay. Is he allowing them to be baptized Catholic?
He's allowing them to. He just doesn't. He he didn't want me to because he wanted his friends to baptize him. My friends aren't Catholic, and I'm trying to tell him that we can't have them
Yeah.
be baptized by a non-Catholic, and he wasn't budging, and he said that if it wasn't them, that it couldn't be anyone. And my sister and my brother-in-law are married to the church, and they're very involved in the church, and they wanted to do it, and he didn't want them to. So that was a problem, but I'm, my parents already told me that we have to do it, and it's something that's really concerning to them because they need to be baptized. So that's something I'm definitely going to do, is just convincing him that it can't be his friends.
Okay. So a couple things I wanted to say. We're not trained counselors or therapists, but I've been in ministry for many, many years, and so has Jerry. So we maybe can give you a little bit of direction on this. First of all, don't feel like it is a total brick wall. Don't feel like that. The first thing I would recommend for you to do, Diana, is get you and your family members, meaning your siblings, your parents, to pray Lady Undoer of Knots. Okay, Lady Undoer of Knots. It's a novena to Our Lady. If you've got to pray it 4 times, 5 times, doesn't matter how many times you pray it, but do it in cycles. Keep praying it with the intention that your husband softens his heart on this, because this is in my opinion, just from the experience I've had in 25 years, this is heartbreaking, because you've got one who wants to be a practicing Catholic in good standing, and one who was baptized Catholic but is walking away very quickly, and that is going to unfortunately divide the family, potentially divide the marriage. It's very unfortunate. So we've got to try to bring that back to a wholeness. So I would suggest Lady Undoer of Knots. Get your family to say it as well. The other thing too is it's going to be very hard to convince your husband. Your husband has to have an openness. And what I would suggest, Diana, is to find a very solid, good priest or deacon that you trust, that your husband would be willing to sit down and have a discussion and get some spiritual guidance and direction, because this is not good for you as a Catholic. And I really think he needs to hear other voices other than family members, which he's going to automatically say, oh, they're biased, which he could probably say that about a deacon or a priest. But you know what? He needs to hear outside voices, Christian counselors, anything of this nature that you can get him to sit down with will help and further your ability to be a Catholic in good standing, and to also help the children. Because if he's going to allow the children and somehow to maybe pick and choose what they want to be when they grow up, this statistics show that they end up choosing nothing. Okay, so that's not good. So he needs to know all the facts before he makes his decisions for his family. So I would suggest that, Jerry. I know you're going to add something, but I'm sorry I'm going on, but I just want Diana to feel like there's hope in this.
Yeah, Diana, what do you think of what Debbie was sharing there first?
I mean, I think she's completely right. I'm going to have my family pray. They're on board with me. They really, really want me to be in good standing. They want the kids to be baptized. And I was raised in the church. I went to church every single Sunday, and I know how good it was for me. And I think that's why I feel so much regret that I didn't make the right choice to kind of really convince him before we got married to be practicing Catholic. But I'm definitely going to pray for him, and I'm going to call my parish and see if we can talk to a priest.
Yeah, that's good, Diana. I can't really add much. What Debbie shared was very, very well said. All I would say, and you know this already, the two of you are married, and God has certainly enabled that, allowed the two of you come together in matrimony, and so you have the kids, and you can be kind of the conduit. You said you're going to pray for your husband. We all will pray for him as well. But you have the relationship. You live under the same roof. You've got the kids. Now let's just pray that the sacramental aspect of this can come into play. And so we will be praying for him as well. But you, by living your faith, your Catholic faith, as vibrantly as you can, and as fervently as you can, and as lovingly as you can, being that witness, that example to him, that goes further than many, many words. And along with the prayers, Debbie, that can be a tremendous thing to help bring him around.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And Diana, whatever you do, God sees and understands all your tears and your heart, and he will make a way. You just have to you have to stay on the course, and you have to stay rooted in prayer, and be as compassionate as you can be with your husband, because I know that you probably just, as all spouses, as we do when we know a certain way that we're supposed to go, okay, we just want to take a brick and knock it over our spouse's head and say, come on, wake up, let's go. And sometimes we just have to take it at a slower pace, but there is hope, and I've seen it happen. Would you please, if you can, Diana, keep in touch with us by email. Just give us updates, because already we're getting messages coming in that the Take Two family is praying for you and your husband and your family. So this is huge. We're storming heaven. If you could just give us an update every once in a while, because we're going to be journeying with you at take2@EWTN.com. Is that good with you?
Yes, that's good. Thank you so much.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Diana. Yeah, Debbie, you stole my thought there. The last thing you said, I was going to say, God sees Diana's heart, which is so very, very beautiful. You can hear how precious her heart is, and the tears. Jesus is a softy when it comes to tears, Diana. So don't ever be afraid to shed a little bit of water there in the form of tears, and offer those to Jesus along with your wish, your desire to be sacramentally married. Okay, we're going to go to Terry next in Jackson, Mississippi, listening on WJXC. Terry, welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Thank you, guys. Y'all really make my day every chance I get to listen to y'all. I just really want you to know that.
Oh, thank you, Terry.
Mine is more a story of good news. I was raised Catholic, married a Protestant. She converted to Catholicism, and since she has gone back to the Protestant church. But we have an understanding that I'm Catholic, that she's welcome to come back anytime she wants. And she told me the other night that she misses the Eucharist. So there is hope for her, for the lady that just called previously. God can open people's hearts. And then one other thing I wanted to say is the single people who are Catholic, the best way to meet new people is to get involved in the church. Don't leave after the Eucharist. Stick around, talk to Father, talk to other people in the church, and say, hey, I want to be more of a part than just coming to Mass.
Okay, so Terry, Terry, you just dropped. Okay, I hope you can call back, because I want to just talk about this, because did you hear that correctly, that Terry was saying that his wife is longing for the Eucharist?
He did say that, yeah. Okay,
so Terry, if you hear us, because you just dropped off on the phone, please, if you can, there's always a time to revisit the Catholic Church. Maybe pick another Catholic church a couple towns over and say to your wife, you know what, you missed the Eucharist? Why don't we make it a whole Saturday? We'll go out, we'll go to Mass, we'll go to dinner, revisit it in a new way. Okay, I can't stress it enough. Sometimes we get the old images in our brains of what we remember about the Catholic Church, and we're like, I don't want to do that again. It's not like that. Revisit it, because, we're all changing, we're all evolving, we're all growing as human beings, right? So I just think that you can kind of reinvent it in a way to make it exciting again, and approach it together. Terry, you're back with us. Thank goodness. I know Michael's getting ready to bring you up on the air. I would love I don't even know if you heard our comments, because you were calling back. So you may have to repeat it for me, Jerry.
Well, Terry, thanks for calling back in. I don't know how much of what Debbie said you heard. Can you give us a summary of that?
I was frantically trying to call back. So
okay.
I heard some of that, but yeah, it would probably bear worth repeating.
Sure.
Just real quickly, the Reader's Digest version, Terry, I was just going to say, your wife is longing or misses the Eucharist. Create a very new experience for you and your wife to go back to church, to go back to the Catholic Church. Maybe say to her, you know what, on Saturday, we're going to spend the afternoon, we're going to go to the Vigil Mass, we're going to go out to dinner and talk about it, go to a new Catholic parish, maybe a couple towns over from you, just to create a new experience, so she could say, wow, this is pretty cool. And you can be initiating it and developing it as it can be a new experience and one that is very healthy for your wife. She's longing to go back to the Eucharist. You almost, how can I say this? You almost want to have those opportunities or create those opportunities for her to get back to the Eucharist. You know where I'm going with this, Terry?
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Sure.
She came to me the other day and said, look, I'm going to go to the Baptist church 1 week, but I want to go to Mass with you the next week. And so she goes to Mass with me every other Sunday.
Okay.
And the people in the church are so welcoming. I don't know if it's Southern hospitality or there's not a lot of Catholics down here in Mississippi. But and when I go, I actually have been to the Baptist church, and, some people think Catholics have horns and tails. It's unique for me to be able to share the message of the Catholic Church with people who, you never know who you're going to reach by sharing your faith and the faith of the church.
Right.
And so I feel like I've been very blessed. But for any single people that feel like they're at going to Mass every week and don't meet people, the best way to meet people is to get involved in the church.
Yeah. Terry, if you want, you can hold on. We can continue the call. Tim in Mississippi also, hang on. We just have this short little pause. 833-288-3986. Do you feel like there's something about your life that the church would not embrace you?
EWTN's Cathedrals Across America presents from Orange County, California, the dedication of Christ Cathedral with the Most Reverend Kevin Vann, Bishop of Orange. This afternoon, 1 Eastern on EWTN Radio Classics.
We know you like listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, but have you thought about bringing them to your next event? No matter what type of event you're hosting, parish mission, conference, or retreat, trust Jerry and Debbie to make it come alive. Begin the process today of taking your presentation to the next level of success. For information on booking Jerry and Debbie, visit take2show.com, click on the J&D logo.
I called my wife to complain angrily about traffic the other day, and she said, I sympathize with you, but I gotta call you on to holiness right now because I love you. I love my wife for that. She told me a story that she heard of a young seminarian who was serving with the Missionaries of Charity. He was scrubbing a bathroom floor and was complaining while he was doing it. He was in a horrible mood. And this missionary of Charity walked by him and laughed. And he said, "What are you doing? Why are you laughing?" She said, "I'm laughing because you're totally wasting your time." He asked, "What are you talking about?" She said, "If you're not doing your work with love, you're totally wasting your sacrifice." Look, suffering is an unavoidable part of everyday life. But you have the power to make it a fruitful part of your spiritual life. Get intentional about offering it up in love. Anyone can do a good day well. When you suffer, when you struggle, that's your moment to become a saint. Don't waste it. Send us a message at connect@reallifecatholic.com. This is Chris Stefanik from reallifecatholic.com on EWTN Radio.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. We embrace the essence of feminine spirituality on Women of Grace tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Okay, we're back on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, Part 2. Do you believe the church wouldn't embrace you? And we're talking to Terry in Jackson, Mississippi. Terry, real quickly, I just wanted to say, I think I heard you correctly about that your wife is kind of getting the best of both worlds, if you will. She's going to her Baptist services, and then every other week she's going to the Catholic Mass with you. I just wanted some clarification on this because we're probably going to get some emails. On those off weeks that she's going to the Baptist, are you not going to Mass? Are you continually going to Mass, or how does that work?
I go to Mass.
Okay.
The beauty of church now is it starts at 8 and 10:30 for Mass, and then on the Baptist church, I think they have 8, 9:15, and 11 o'clock. So on the days that she goes to the Baptist church, I go to Mass. I don't miss Mass.
Okay.
Right.
So I have a suggestion for you. This is kind of a little an interesting approach. I don't know, Jerry, if you're going to disagree with me, but is there a way that you can make, since you're both Catholic, okay, can you make the Catholic Mass a priority, okay, every single weekend together, because you guys are married, okay, and then also both of you go to the Baptist service as well, instead of going back and forth. And the reason why I say that is, see, she's going to pick up things in her Baptist community when you're not there. And in her mind, she's going to be saying, well, I like this better, but Terry wasn't with me. And, you've got this, you can't compare, or really understand the services if one's not there. Okay, so one is absorbing a lot of it and then making their determination about which faith they're going to follow. You should be doing it together, and I would make the Catholic Mass a priority and then go together, because she's longing for the Eucharist, and I think. Ultimately, you being united in this is going to draw her back in. That's just my thought. It's my personal opinion. This is not the gospel according to Debbie. I'm just my personal opinion. What do you think, Terry?
I can't agree with that. Yeah. What do you think, Terry? Yeah, go ahead.
Debbie, let me lay that out real quick. So I do go to the Baptist church. The first time I went, I felt like I was at a rock concert. Mm-hmm. But I do go.
Sure.
And so she goes to Mass with me, not every Sunday, but I think she'll start doing that. And the way that I've approached this is not to force anything, not to chastise her or anything, but just to show her the love of the church and of God.
Perfect.
And I think that's the best way. So there is hope for people out there. Don't be discouraged. Think God can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
God is great every day.
Amen.
And
Yeah, Terry, I can just add
don't,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, don't give up.
Absolutely, and I was going to add, kind of on a very personal note. My brother is married to. She was a Southern Baptist. I don't believe that she's not kind of like in the same situation as your wife, where she goes to church regularly. But she had a lot of problems when my brother was coming back to his Catholic faith, largely through listening to Catholic radio, I might add. And he wanted to go to Mass, and so he was going to Mass, and they had a Bible study in their house. And over the 2 or 3 year period, she softened a lot to his being Catholic. And then they were having this non-denominational Bible study in their house once a week. And my brother just marveled at the fact that she was actually correcting the non-Catholics in their little bit being off on some of the scripture verses, or maybe they conflicted with some of the Catholic understandings of scripture. So I don't believe she's become Catholic yet, but I'm just saying, like you said, there is hope. And I think what you're doing is just going to rub off on your wife. And if the two of you, I agree with Debbie, if you're united at both churches, God is going to be in the midst of that. You're both going to be able to discuss, your experiences afterwards and move forward, I think, in a very beautiful, beautiful way. God is working in her life. If she has a longing for the Eucharist, boy, there are a lot of spouses right now, Terry, that would give anything to have their spouse have that longing for the Eucharist. So I think you're in a good place.
Yep, I agree.
Wonderful marriage. We've been married for 25 years.
Wow.
And
praise God.
Yeah, we understand each other. She does not give me any, even when I told her I was going back to the church, she didn't give me any issues. I've met some of her Baptist friends, and I've been able to witness to them. There's a lot of misconceptions among Protestants. They don't go through RCIA and understand what the church is about. They have their own preconditions already set in their mind, and it's good to be able to talk to them and let them know, what a Catholic is. Because, like I said, we're in Mississippi, so there's not it's not the predominant denomination.
Right. Well, you can be a great evangelizer, Terry. I mean, you're going to get into some great discussions with your Baptist friends. I think it's going to be amazing. I mean, who knows? You and your wife may get into a ministry in that. And I think it's beautiful the way you speak about your wife. She sounds like a beautiful soul, and we'll be just asking God to shower abundant blessings, continued abundant blessings on you. Thank you, Terry.
Appreciate the call, Terry, to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie at 833-288-3010. 3986. And we were talking today about if there is if you sense there's an obstacle, maybe there's a real legitimate obstacle and you fully participating in the Catholic Church, but maybe you just feel like by some action you've done or something about yourself that the church wouldn't welcome you in. That's what we're talking about today at 833-288-3986.
Jerry, we're getting a lot of emails. You wanted to address some of them that are coming in for Diana, our first caller from Washington. A lot of folks are trying to help. They're saying, can you get your marriage convalidated in the church? Can you go like a fast track process for your husband? Maybe he doesn't have to go through RCIA, all sorts of things. Again, folks, you are so wonderful. Everybody wants to help Diana, and I think that is beautiful. Diana, if you talk to a priest, sit down, maybe find out what you can and can't do with regards of getting your marriage that convalidated in the church. There's all sorts of things. So I continue to talk to priests and deacons. It's very important you keep up that conversation.
Yeah, a lot of times it's the phrase that's used is have your marriage blessed by the church, but convalidated is the term that Debbie used, which is the technical term for that. And I believe she said her husband was baptized Catholic, right? And then
didn't receive the sacraments, though.
Didn't receive the sacraments, yeah. So, Diana, think about that. Talk to your priest, and it could be as easy as getting that convalidation, and there you go. You'd be able to receive Jesus in the Eucharist again. What a great gift that would be for you. Okay, where are we going to go next? Tim.
Tim, driving through
our
Mississippi.
Virtual Patience Award.
Yes, Tim, you get 2 awards today, Tim. You get the Virtual Patience Award and the First Time Caller. We'll give you a virtual award for that, Tim. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much.
Sure.
Hello.
How can we help you, Tim?
Are you there?
Yeah, we are here.
Hi. Let's see. I'm an over-the-road trucker. I'm driving through Missouri right now, and it's gosh darn impossible for me to go to Mass, even on a weekly schedule, because I'm driving a 80,000-pound rig. I'm having a hard time. I'm listening to the station here and trying to participate in the daily Mass. Even I found out that in the evenings there was a rosary said, and I participated in that. But I'm afraid that,
you feel like you're not fulfilling your obligation?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead. I cut you off there. If you had more to say, go ahead, Tim, but we can comment on that in a minute. But feel free if you were going to continue that thought.
No, that was it in a nutshell.
Okay.
I'm just a simple guy that just rambles on a little bit.
Well, we all do that, Tim, but you're more than a simple guy. You've got a depth to you that I'm sure Debbie would agree that we can hear coming through on the radio right now. And in the deepest depths of you is that desire. You have the desire to receive the Eucharist. Like Terry's wife, you have the desire, maybe even, not some of the same, obstacles at this point in time. But you mentioned the truck driving, and there are, what the church would say is, do everything that you can to try to find a way to go to a Mass that fulfills the Sunday obligation, Saturday evening or Sunday. If that isn't presently possible, Debbie, I would have to think that from a pastoral standpoint, if there's a chance for Tim to get to a weekday Mass somewhere, in your heart, Tim, and in your mind, offer that to the Lord. Say, Lord, I'm going to try and correct my situation or adjust my situation, I should say, so that I can get to a Mass that fulfills the Sunday obligation. But in the meantime, Tim, go ahead and try to attend a Mass somewhere. Keep listening to the Mass, obviously. Keep praying the Rosary. And maybe just at some point, if you can, like we've said to other people, if you can find a priest or somebody who can help you better fulfill and address this question, that might not be a bad idea. What do you think, Debbie?
I totally agree. Tim, we're all going to be praying for you right now that the right priest or deacon comes into your view, and you take that opportunity to sit with them and just, unburden yourself. Okay, you've got a lot of things that probably are keeping you, including your occupation, keeping you maybe away from the church, and that's not necessary. You know, there are ways to constantly stay connected, and God provides those ways, and it's amazing. I've seen it in my own life, Tim, and now that you have expressed it, Tim, I'm just going to say I'm kind of a little bit of a betting person. The right people are going to come into your path, and you're going to see that the good Lord is working very quickly because you expressed it. And so he wants you. He wants you close to him. He wants you physically close to him. So I just want to say, Tim, this is in my opinion, this is a great day for you because, you know, you have expressed it. And I just think the good Lord is now, you've unleashed the Spirit, and it's just going to move in your direction and help you get reconnected with the faith that you love. What do you think?
Yes, I know I talked to my godmother a couple weeks back about the same situation. And maybe what I'll do is my archdiocese is Colorado Springs, Colorado. Maybe I'll call the diocese, and they'll be able to direct me to a priest. Because my old priest that I love dearly, Father Merritt, left the diocese to go back to Poland. Excuse me for the bumps.
Sure.
In the road here. So yeah, I'll talk to the diocese and see if I can get direction from there.
Yeah, Tim, this kind of thing is probably a lot more common than you think. You might feel that your situation is perhaps unique or at least very rare. And it may not be, you know, very, very prevalent, but you're certainly not the only one in this situation. And so Debbie and Tim, I'm sure your diocese, Tim, they've heard this before. They've helped other people before with this. So I just hope that you take away hope from this phone call and go with our prayers as you.
You know, in truck stops, you'll see these non-denominational places, kind of like when I was in the Army. You know, you could go to a non-denominational service at it. And one, I never got anything, you know, out of it because it wasn't a Catholic service, and I wasn't going to fall into I'm not going to call it a trap or anything. Not going to Catholic Mass, so
sure.
I'll see what diocese. I mean, they're a heck of a lot further than me.
Well, keep us posted, Tim. You know, we've already got folks praying for you, just saying they're rooting for you, Tim. So you got to keep us posted so we can praise God. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you, and God bless all those people praying for me. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
absolutely,
praying not only for your heart's desire to practice your faith more fully,
traveling.
Tim, but for safe travels too. Thank you for what you do, and all of our truckers, Joyce, who weighed in on this topic as well, and all those who make our lives better by driving over the road like you do, Tim. Thank you so much. 833-288-3986, talking about do you think the church would not embrace you? Judy, hold on just a second. I have to make people aware of something, Debbie, that is really, really, I think, very awesome.
Okay.
It's a book from EWTN Publishing. It's available now at EWTNRC.com. The author is Paul Body, and the book is called Benedict Up Close, the inside story of 8 dramatic years. It brings you a unique glimpse into the behind-the-scenes drama of Pope Benedict's pontificate, drawing from many conversations with the Pope himself, as well as from his extensive interviews with members of the Pope's inner circle. You will witness firsthand his many triumphs, public and private, as well as the hostility that he experienced. A lot of people don't really know about that. So get your copy of Benedict Up Close, the inside story of 8 dramatic years by Paul Body. It's available right now at EWTNRC.com.
All of our friends, including Gigi from New Jersey, are saying, I love our truckers. I do too. We have so many truckers that listen to Take Two. I think
great.
That's wonderful. It's a growing family. Okay, Judy in Huntsville, Texas, Sirius XM 130, first-time caller. Hi, Judy. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
My husband and I have been married 35 years. He's Catholic, and So we both had been married before and divorced, of course. And so we've continued to go to church and go to Mass over the years, and I have come to embrace the Catholic Church, and it's my heart's desire to be in full communion with the Church. And I was wondering, is there any way that we could do that without having to go through the annulment process?
You go first, Jerry. I wasn't quite. I didn't hear part of that, so maybe.
Well, yeah, and Judy said that she and her husband, he is Catholic, she is not. They go to Mass, and she actually would like to become a Catholic and receive the sacraments. And they've both been divorced and remarried. And she was actually asking if there's a way to achieve their desired goal without going through the annulment process. I don't know of a way that without the annulment process.
Well, and can I just get a? I'm not an advocate, a canon lawyer or part of the tribunal or anything. But Judy, real quickly, are the former spouses, were they baptized Catholic?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So then here's what you want to do, Judy. You want to get to a priest, go make an appointment with a priest, sit down and explain your situation, because it's in my understanding, Judy, don't quote me on this, but it's actually much simpler to achieve what you're trying to achieve. If those former spouses were baptized Catholic, then you have a whole nother layer that they have to go through of examination and investigation.
Okay, well, I heard someone speaking the other day on the radio about that the couple could choose to live as a brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know if that was an avenue or not.
Are you talking about you're talking about you and your husband until you have your marriage blessed or convalidated in the church? Is that what you're talking about? Yes. The criteria they will. Yeah. What I would suggest to do, this is the easiest way. Call up any local parish, any local Catholic parish that's in your area. Say, I'd like to sit down with a deacon or priest. I'd like to talk about my marital situation to see how I can come into the Catholic Church. They will make an appointment. If you can't get it the first time, Judy, don't give up, okay? Because sometimes they're spread so thin, so it takes a little, maybe a little while to get back to you. But sit down with them, explain your situation, explain the situation with the former spouses, tell them what you want to do. They'll set down the criteria, and they can help you create a path to get into the Catholic Church in good standing. And it's really, I have to tell you, it can be life-changing and soul-changing. The things they ask you to do to be a better person, to come into and embrace the faith is eye-opening in ways you can never describe. I mean, it's unbelievable. And so it may be a little challenging, but I can tell you the graces and the blessings that come from it are incredible. So I'm going to wish the best for you, Judy. This is awesome, the place that you're in, and I hope you get that meeting with a deacon or priest. If you don't, please let us know. Take2@EWTN.com, because you definitely are on a great path, Judy. What do you think?
Okay, I can do that. I sure will get in touch with someone. I appreciate your help.
You're welcome, Judy, and you have the prayers of the entire Take Two family globally as well, and we promise you that. And please do keep us posted, as Debbie always says. You can do that via email at take2@EWTN.com, or just call back the show sometime in the future. But we definitely will be praying for you. We had a caller, Tim, if you're still listening, somebody suggested, and you may know this already, there's a website which I actually use a lot when I'm traveling. It's masstimes.org, masstimes.org. And Tim, the caller who talked to Michael McCall, our screener, told him that he has a friend who parks in a Walmart parking lot and then gets an Uber to Mass and then an Uber back and jumps back in his truck and he's back on the road again. So that might be something you can consider.
Very true. And a couple things, folks, maybe we can post at the end of the show, Jerry. There's different, like Franciscan Media and other places have the criteria for convalidation, because a lot of people they're talking about it, but there is, based on, there's different criteria. So maybe we can post some articles that have been written just to get folks up to speed on what that means to have your church and have your marriage blessed in the church. I would suggest that would be a good thing to do. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm not sure if this is the same person who called in to speak with Michael McCall, but we got a comment on the Jerry and Debbie Facebook page. And it's from Roby, and he says, "Good morning. I just heard the caller, truck driver who cannot attend Mass. I myself am a truck driver, and I'm over-the-road driver, and I never miss weekly Masses. Wherever I'm parked, I Google search Catholic churches near me. Then I do Uber or taxi, or I drop the trailer and go, either Sunday or Saturday vigil." So, again, Debbie, people helping each other. So, Tim, maybe that's something you can do, Tim, to get yourself, back on that regular practice of going to Sunday Mass.
I just want to say something about that, Jerry. It wouldn't surprise me at all. The Spirit has been unleashed and it's moving, right? I just feel it. It may happen where Tim is driving and all of a sudden he looks up and there's a Catholic church. It's just amazing how God provides. And I just want Tim, stay eyes wide open on that. I know you got to have eyes wide open on the road also for that coming into view as well. Jerry, I want to say one other thing. I think this was a wonderful ending to this two-part discussion on being embraced by the church. Please, folks, go to CatholicsComeHome.org. There's questions there, frequently asked questions that maybe, you've been thinking about, and the answers are right there. They've done a phenomenal job. It's a great ministry. Also, too, please remember this. If something has happened in your life and it doesn't quite fit into the Catholic, circle of what is right and what is not right based on being a Catholic, don't feel like you completely failed and you're out now. Because that's not the case. And there's nothing wrong with sitting down with the leaders of the church, deacons, priests, religious sisters, even the lay leaders of the church, and sitting down and saying, hey, this is what happened in my life, but I want to be a Catholic in good standing. Okay? Remember, folks, it is possible. You may have to make some changes. It may be a little challenging, but I can tell you the graces and the blessings flow from it. I am living proof of it. So, Jerry, I just had to say that for folks that are feeling like they're outside of the circle looking in.
Yeah, my heart is always broken for people, especially, like we talked about here on the show, and some people have, I think, manifested this with their calls and their situations, that there may be an easier solution or resolution than you might have thought that there was. So please, the church is here for everyone. She opens her arms to embrace every man, woman, and child on the face of the earth. Some choose not to take that invitation up. But like Debbie said, if you're living in a situation and you just think or you believe that there might be some obstacle to you, practicing the faith more fully, get a hold of a priest. They can certainly help you out with that.
That's true. Or somebody may have told you that. They may have said, oh, you messed up now. You got to go down the street to a non-denominational church. They'll accept you. That's just not true. Go talk to your Catholic church. We're home. We're home. When people come back home to the faith, that's the first thing they say when they enter the church doors. I'm home. What does that tell you? We're innately drawn to it.
Yeah. I emailed someone the other day, and I actually got this from you, Debbie. He had come back to the Catholic Church, and I said, well, welcome home. And I said, you were missed while you were gone. I said, the church was, in a sense, incomplete without you. And so, especially if you are a baptized Catholic not practicing your faith, please do what you can to get that resolved and come back home. And if you're not a Catholic, well, listen to Call to Communion with Dr. David Anders. Maybe put your questions to him, but prayerfully consider the claims of the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church looks really ugly in a lot of ways right now with the abuse scandals and all of that. But remember, Jesus didn't look very pretty when he was on the cross either. And so we will see things, I believe, that will manifest the Catholic Church to be the true Church of Christ, even in the midst of all of this intense suffering that we're all going through, this purification. So please, please take that to prayer, and God will speak to you. I'm convinced of it.
Mm-hmm. Tim, our trucker friend, called back and said, thanks, everyone, for the suggestions and the prayers and the follow-ups. Tim, we're a family. That's what we do here at Take Two. We're all together in this journey, this crazy thing called life, and we're together in it. Real quickly, folks, please make sure that you go to jerryanddebbie.com. Check out the webinar that's coming up next Thursday. Not this Thursday, the following Thursday, and with Adam Bly. You can submit your question. We're going to compile the top 12, and then we're just going to rapid fire give them to Adam Bly so it can help us on all this demon stuff. Right, Jerry?
Right. JerryandDebbie.com for that. And tomorrow on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, you're getting old when What have you experienced? What have you seen? What have you learned that's made you just kind of pause in your tracks and go, wow, I'm starting to get a little bit older. I have some interesting ones that I'm going to share tomorrow. How about you, Deb?
I do as well. Can't wait. So until then, folks, have a beautiful and blessed day. We'll see you real soon.
Dr. Ray Gurendi, making a commitment to the wives. When the show's on, put the radio under your husband's pillow. The percentage of yes dears will rise. The doctor is in next.
Morning Glory. It's Catholic from coast to coast.
All this becomes so politicized and so polarizing that nothing is getting done and children are suffering. Let's be real. Don't point fingers, oh, it's a Democrat, oh, it's a Republican. Yeah, if everybody just worked together and took this seriously, then we can find a solution to this, but they don't care. They get in the office, they do whatever they want.
Morning Glory, talking about everything important to today's Catholic. Tomorrow morning, 7 Eastern, on EWTN Radio.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic. Welcome to Spirit of Stewardship. Jeremy Belsky is your host for real-life stories, encouragement, and